Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Thank you to everybody who is joining me live, and thank you to everyone who is watching the replay. I appreciate it so much. Make sure that you still jump in the comments. Hashtag, I think, replay crew. I forget. There's a couple of you that do it, and I always really, really appreciate it. We already got some comments going. Yeah, I saw two. I didn't know which one was going to be right because I only see one on my side in StreamYard, which is the tool that I use to go live. And so I didn't know how to delete the other one. So I'll figure it out after we're done. I'll be able to see and we'll just delete the other one. So hopefully you guys figure out where to be and that everybody is here in the right one. Now that it's 6 o'clock, it should be pretty easy. So let's kick it off. Let me know down in the comments, what are you drinking? I had every intention of making tea to have tonight, and I even have the mug, and the thumbnail is all done with the mug, and then I ran out of time. I was vlogging before I went live, and all of a sudden it was 5:55, and I was like, there's no time to make tea. So I just have my water. It's filled. This is the last of my water. Looks like I've got some other water friends joining me as well. Ooh, blueberry tea. That sounds good. Blueberry, I feel like is one of those flavors, like it depends on the actual blueberry. Sometimes I like it and sometimes I don't. Um, Got to get that water in. Yeah, that water, man. Oh, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here for the first time. This is so fun. We're just sharing what we're drinking. That's how we kick off every vlog, every live. Can you believe it's almost been a full year of these? It was March of last year that we started going live every week. They've moved around, obviously, but we are still continuing them because they are just some of my favorite times of the week. I love the opportunity to connect with you. I love the opportunity for you to ask questions and me to be able to answer them right on the spot. I get a lot of questions in my DMs, in my emails, in my comments, and sometimes it's hard to get to them all. And so I love that we have this opportunity to live answer questions once a week. So, all right, let me know. What questions do you guys have? Oh, Sarah, that sounds amazing. Coconut mocha coffee. Yum. I can't have coffee this late. For sure. It would not end well. I would not go to sleep. All right. I'll tell you, while I wait for the questions to come in, every morning when I work out, I stare at this bookshelf and I think about the books that I am planning to get rid of and like what I'm planning to do with that bookshelf in terms of packing. And I almost did it the other day. I almost was like, oh, I'm going to go ahead and just do that. I'm just going to get that bookshelf done. But then I realized that it wouldn't be behind me for the live. So I figured like I actually can't do the bookshelf until way later down the road. That last live, it might be an empty bookshelf. But up until then, I'm going to leave. Leave it. Oh, Grace, mimosas. Yum. That sounds amazing. How's the packing going? Cheney, all I have done so far is Christmas and Hanukkah, the holiday box. That's the only box that has been packed so far. We have a lot of supplies. I have been thinking about what's coming next and what the packing plan is. You'll hear more about all of that in this week's weekly vlog that goes up on Friday. What are you going to do with the books you're going to get rid of? Amy, that's a great question because right now our Goodwill is not taking books, which is really frustrating. I might see if friends and family want them. That I don't want to end up trying to also ship a bunch of stuff while I am also packing. So pretty much everything else we're going to be taking to Goodwill. We have a Goodwill within walking distance, but they're not taking books right now. So that's kind of a bummer. Thank you for checking, Amanda. My family is good. Everybody has power back. They didn't have power at one point in the last couple of days, but they all have power now. And so they are okay right now. Sam's dad's good. His mom still doesn't have power, so she's over at a friend's house. So yeah, it's thank you for checking. Yes, Crystal, I'm so excited about moving. We're just ready. I feel like we're ready to get out of this space and we're ready for to have our own offices. Like things happen. I mean, you might hear him in the background right now. He's on a call and that's just how it is right now. And so we're just very excited for more space. Lisa, how did I know you were going to call me out on my one little word? With all of your moving plans, are you going to get to one little word before the move? My goal is to do at least January before the move. at least January. I don't know that I'm going to get to February or March before we move, but I'm going to get at least January done so that I'm not 3 months behind by the time I get settled in the new apartment. Sarah, any tips on how to give yourself grace when a day doesn't go as planned? Don't do a routine, hit your water goal, etc. Sarah, absolutely. The biggest thing that I had to accept in this space, in this discussion, is that every day isn't going to be perfect. And that's just a fact of being a human. We're human and life is not going to be perfect. Everything is not going to be exactly the way that we want it to every single day. There will be days that we mess up. The goal is that we mess up. I wouldn't even call it mess up because sometimes it's out of your control. It's something that happens to you, not you doing it. Sometimes it is in our control, but sometimes things just happen and we get off track, and that's completely fine because every day is not going to be perfect. What we have to accept is that we have more better days than we did before, is that we are improving. So on an average, I'm really getting excited about this idea of like a weekly average or a monthly average. There's another goal, and I'll talk about this in my goals video, that I have kind of converted to a weekly goal instead of a daily goal, because just every day is not the same and every day is not going to be perfect. And so when we give ourselves that grace to make it a weekly average or a monthly average, we just feel so much more accomplished. So just remember that not every day is going to be perfect, and it's going to take work and practice to get up and do it again the next day and try again for success and for progress and to be better the next day. That takes time to work on. But I will tell you that it gets easier. Well, let me take that back. The quote I wrote in my daily planner today is that it doesn't get easier, you get better. So it gets easier because you get stronger. Michelle, why did I choose a Peloton over a treadmill? Well, I definitely wanted a bike. The debate was never a treadmill or a bike. It was always going to be a bike. We just debated between a Peloton and a less expensive option. There were a number of decisions that went into that. I feel like this is a very personal decision, what people choose. We're just not treadmill people. I much prefer a stationary bike. So there's a lot of reasons we went into it, but I'm really excited about my Peloton. NYC news this week has been scary. I feel like NYC has been kind of the most, besides like Florida, it hasn't been so bad here. It's actually been super warm. Most of our snow is melted at this point. Oh, local library. Crystal, that's a great recommendation. I'll make sure to check that out. How do you find the motivation to work out for more than one day in a row? I feel like I need to be in a mindset to work out or randomly feel like I want to. So couple of ways that I accomplish this, Becca. One is I set the plan a week in advance. So going into the week, I make a plan. Okay, these are the workouts that I'm going to do Monday through Friday. Does that always happen? No. But at least if I have a plan, I don't have to make the decision of what the workout's going to be that day. That decision has already been made. The other thing is that I start small. And so if you're starting to work out for the first time, I do not recommend that you try and do 60 minutes a day, 5 days a week. Go from 0 to that. That is just not going to be sustainable physically and mentally. So if you're going from 0 and you want to do it more than one day in a row, do 15 minutes and commit. I'm just going to do 15 minutes and then I'm done. And sometimes you might have more energy once you get started and you might go for longer. Sometimes you might just be like, I'm done after 15 minutes. That happens with me. I commit to 30 minutes. But again, I've worked up to that. And then my other tip would be kind of what I talked about earlier, and that's to have a weekly goal. And that way, if there is a day that you really don't feel like it, you can push it to another day. So schedule it out, still schedule it out, right? So if you say I'm going to do 3 times a week, 30 minutes each, still schedule it. Say you're going to do it Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But then if something happens and you don't want to do it, then do it on a different day. And so you can still hit your overall weekly goal. Yeah, lots of library recommendations. I'll check with my library next time I go there to drop stuff off and see if they are accepting donations, because I have a lot of books. What books am I currently reading? So I am reading, the fiction book I'm reading right now is Queenie. I started it a couple nights ago and have been, like last night I got in bed at like 8:05 to start reading it because I'm obsessed with it. It's super, super good. I didn't realize it was set in London. I love that. It's great. And then I also just finished How Not to Die. So right now, the 2 nonfiction books I'm reading, I'm still working through How to Be an Anti-Racist. I have 2 chapters left. I'm almost done there. And then the same, we talked about this last week, but like building a story brand. And then I'm also reading the Unf Your Habit from Cindy's book club. No, Lisa, I know. I can always just count on you to ask about my one little word. Annie, do you back plan? With all the drama here in Texas, you have blank spots in your planner. So I do, but that is because of how I use my planner. So right now my planning system is I plan out my week and I really plan by the month, and then I adjust on the week in my Google Cal. And then I do a plan in my daily planner, and then I memory keep in a vertical planner. I do not back plan in my daily planner. If I miss a day, I miss a day, and it's just blank, and I don't go back and fill that in. But then I go and memory keep in my vertical, although I am like 3 weeks behind, y'all. I'm really behind. You're not loving your Power Sheets tending list. You haven't been using it. Should you redo it using a different copy? It is definitely a perfectionism issue, but there are still 11 days left in this month. And so if you don't like it and you're not going to be successful, then over the next 11 days, because you don't like looking at your tending list, then absolutely go make a copy of a different month, write it on a different notepad, like list out the things you want to get done in the next 11 days on a notepad and do it, track your goals that way. Just having your goals written down somewhere that you want to look at and check in with, that's the important piece. Corey, this is a great question. Have you had difficulty setting goals given the unpredictable nature of the future right now? 100%. It is really tough to set some specific goals right now. So there's 2 ways to go about this. We actually talked about this in Patreon. I feel like in like our December Q&A, maybe we talked about this. There's 2 ways really to go about this. And you can also do both. But one, which is what I'm doing, is all of my goals this year that I've set are within my control, regardless of how the outside world looks. If things, which I hope they don't, but if they stayed exactly like they are right now, all the restrictions we have in place, everything that is the way that it is, I can achieve all of my goals. Like they are all within my control, given the current state of the world. Now, that means I don't have any travel goals. That means I don't have a ton of like seeing my friends and family goals. Like it means that those goals didn't end up in my Power Sheets this year, because that's just what works for me. The other way you can do it is just set shorter goals. So set 30-day, 90-day goals and then check in. I know a member of our community, she decided to do 6 months. So she did the first half of the year, and then she said, I'm just going to readjust and go in and make a decision in June, because hopefully by June, things will look very different and she can make different kinds of goals. So just setting goals on a shorter time frame, and then knowing that you're going to jump in and reassess them in however many days when the state of the world is likely different. Oh my God, I'm so excited for my Peloton. And I'm just like crossing all the fingers, knocking on all the wood that it doesn't get postponed or delayed. Any Weight Watchers snack recommendations that are lower in points? Sarah, I only ended up doing Weight Watchers on this current version for like five or 6 weeks last year before everything shut down. So I don't really have a ton of great Weight Watcher recommendations on points. I don't really know all the point formulas right now. I'm sorry. Great question, Cindy. Are the times in the Cook Once Eat All Week cookbook accurate? Like if it says it comes together with 15 minutes of prep and 5 minutes of prep and 15 minutes of cook time. I have found that 80% of the time that they're accurate. Sometimes I actually think they're too long. Like the week I just did 2 weeks ago, one of them I had to add 5 or 10 more minutes on. And then one of them I took 5 or 10 minutes off. So, but most of the time it is pretty accurate for me. We also have a really funky oven because we have such an old oven in New York City apartment problems. So I also struggle a lot with cook time, that I feel like other people who can actually like type in the number on their oven and not just like hope the knob is in the right spot don't have that problem. But for me, I found that about 80% of the time it's pretty darn accurate. What do you do in your memory keeper on weeks that are just awful? Well, Georgia, since I just started memory keeping, I don't really have an answer for this because I have not had a week that's just awful yet. But when I used to plan in a vertical planner like normal, and I had weeks that were awful, like I lost my grandmother or just things like that, I would just put a giant piece of washi tape across the week and like write something on it and be done with it. And just like, or like the week I broke up with my ex, however many years ago that was, I just like put a big piece of washi tape and wrote like boys suck. So Christopher, also, I always appreciate if your name is different from your handle name. that you put your name when you comment for the first time. I love that. Any tips on creating a monthly goal tracker for people who don't have power sheets? Absolutely. So I think first off, the most important piece of it is that it's somewhere that you're going to look at it. So if that is on your fridge, if that is on your bathroom mirror, if that is in a page in your normal planner, where on your phone, wherever it is that you're going to look at it, that's the most important piece. And then it's a place for you to see progress. There's really two reasons that I think writing down your goals has so much power. The first one is it helps you remember them. Right? We don't forget about our goals. I am so guilty of in the past setting goals and then forgetting about them because I didn't have them written down and I didn't look at them on a regular basis. The second reason is so that you can see the progress that you're actually making. And so all I would do is list out all the goals that you have and have a place to track it. And whether you're making daily or weekly or monthly goals or all of the above, all that matters is that you are writing it down and you are tracking it when you are done or when you've made progress so that you can look back and see that you are accomplishing things on those days that you feel like you're not. Besides the boot camp that you did, can you recommend any content batching resources? That's the biggest one, is just to take that. And she's launching another live course. You can sign up for the wait list right now. I'll leave it linked in the video below when I'm done. It's an affiliate link, full disclosure, but that is just my biggest recommendation for actually batching content, is that content batching course. I have the most energy in the morning, but I'm finding it hard to get off the couch to do yoga after your AM journaling, blah, 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 blah. Rachel, I sometimes feel the same way where I just like don't want to get up off the couch after I've done all of that. But the coffee helps, to be honest. Once I feel like my coffee kicks in. So what I try to do is actually drink the coffee a little bit earlier in that process. The earlier I finish my coffee, the more likely I'm going to get up off the couch and do the thing. If I find that I finished all of the other stuff that's on my morning routine list, all the other journaling, all the other reading, and I'm just sitting there playing on my phone and the coffee's gone and I just don't want to get up and work out, I will set a 5-minute timer on my phone and say you have 5 more minutes to scroll through wherever you want to scroll through, play with whatever you want to play with, and then it's time to get up and get your workout done. Oh, this is a tough question. I'm struggling so much with the journey, especially with weight loss. I'm good for a week and then want immediate results. How do you stay motivated when progress is slower? So that is when you need to focus on the progress that you're not going to see on the scale, or the progress that you're not going to see in a progress photo or in inches, because that progress is going to be slow. How are you feeling? How is your sleep? How are you moving? Do you feel better when you move? Do you run out of breath less going down the stairs? Can you do more push-ups? Can you do push-ups on your knees? That's what I'm working on right now. I'm still on I'm not on your knees. I'm working up to my toes. I'm working on that. And just think of some of those other ways to track progress that is not what you're physically going to see, because that's going to take time. I can now pretty much always get my water in because my body's used to that at that point. That's progress. I don't need sugar in my coffee anymore. That's progress. And focus on those other little pieces of progress. Cindy, I love that plan that you do the prep and the kids do it. It's so easy putting it together. And there's some that are easier than others. So if there's some nights that you make it's the kids' night, like tonight we're doing one of the sheet pan dinners. It's literally putting the things on the sheet pan and putting the sauce on it and putting it in the oven. It's so easy. Like that one is one that the kids could easily do. All right, Sarah, I haven't gotten around to setting up my February goals in my power sheets. Do you think it would be good for me to put a few small goals this late in the game or just start fresh? So there are still, like I said, 11 days left in February, and that's a lot of time. So I 100% think you should still make at least 1 or 2 small goals. For me personally, wouldn't make a daily goal because it would unmotivate me to see all of that empty space. So I would just make 1 or 2 monthly goals of things that you want to get done in February, and then move on for March, so that you're not totally writing off the next 10, 11 days, but you're not setting yourself up for disappointment. How do you plan for social media? Your current plan is not really working. Yeah. So I do have it in a separate planner, but then I move it to my daily planner every day. That's probably, I don't know if that's the most efficient way, but that's just how I do it. But everything is done in advance, all a month in advance. So with the exception of the weekly vlogs, because obviously those can't be done in advance, all of the Instagram posts are written and in drafts a month in advance. All of the Monday YouTube videos that are like pre-filmed and done are done a month in advance. Those are scheduled. Those I can just like, they just show up at noon on Mondays and I don't have to do anything about them. And then what am I forgetting? I mean, those are pretty much the main places that I show up. If I do other things, it's extra and not planned. And all of my Patreon stuff too. Rachel, that's very sweet, but I definitely know who you are at this point. Oh, I love, Amanda, that it's helped you in other areas of life too. Robin, how do you drink your coffee and how did you get to that point? So I just worked my way back, right? So I used to take my coffee with creamer, like actual like vanilla creamer from the store. And so I did that for a while and then I tried to just take a little bit less. Then I went from creamer to milk and sugar. And then I just tried to cut back a little bit on the sugar. And then I actually switched to half and half because the fat and the protein also helps keep me full. And so I'd rather take those calories than doing like almond milk or something. But then it also has some sugar in it. And so that helped me cut the sugar too. So I take my coffee with a splash, a pour of half and half. Ooh, Allison, this is a great question. How do you stop kidding yourself by packing your daily to-do list? Oh, if I could go back and tell like 4 years ago, Laken, this, I totally would. So first things first is I always time block it in Google Cal before it gets put onto my actual daily planner. And that is like, that allows me to see exactly how long things are going to take. And so that I don't put things on my daily planner that are not necessarily realistic in getting things done. That's step one. Step two is always overestimating on that Google Cal how long things are going to take. Most of the time, like prepping the weekly vlog only takes me about 30 minutes. I have it slotted for an hour on my planner, on my Google Cal. That way if it does take less time, great, I get some extra rest time, or maybe I do something else on my to-do list, but I'm not feeling disappointed if I gave it half hour and then it took 45 minutes that week because it was a longer weekly vlog. So that's the second step. Step three is I have it in a different space on my daily planner, what is scheduled in my day and what is not. And then I just kind of listen to my body. So in my daily plum paper, most of my done days have things that I haven't sticky noted out. So here where it says today, this is where I put things that got time blocked in my Google Cal. So what is listed here, like there's no reason why these things shouldn't happen. Like something drastic would have to change about my day for these things not to happen, because I've gotten pretty good about making sure that I'm not overbooking myself in this section. Then all the other to-dos that pop up go over here in this section. And if they end up over here, I am like understanding and telling myself that it may not get done today because I may not end up with any extra space to do these other things. And then I have to put them in a time block on a future day. Most of the time, the things I put over here are like 5-minute tasks and I can find 5-minute pockets to do them. Or it's things like post on Instagram, right? That doesn't take very long. So that's kind of how I tackle it. And then I have learned to listen to myself and give myself breaks when I need it. And like last night, we were done with dinner and we watched an episode of something at like 8. I said that 8:05. And Sam was like, I really just want to watch my anime show. And I was like, fine. So I could have either gone to my to-do list and tried to do something from 8 to 9 before it was time to get in bed, which my actual bedtime, or I could just get in bed early and start reading. And that's what I did. And it felt really nice. Like it felt really nice. Ooh, yes. Having the teens doing the veggies. I like that plan. What am I currently reading or listening to? I listed the books that I'm reading a little bit earlier in the live. Listening to, there aren't really any new podcasts on my radar. It's all kind of the same ones that I've been listening to. I'm just trying to play catch up on them. I have been listening to a lot of music. That's been my big February thing is I've been listening to a lot of music, and I have a lot of Pandora stations that I really love. I listen to Disney, I listen to Broadway, I listen to country, I listen to like my Maroon 5 Pandora station. And I just have been loving that. I've been loving music. I appreciate your qualification of asking in a respectful way. What makes you qualified to teach people about achieving their goals? We're curious on your background. I don't necessarily have a background in goal setting. I'm not sure that's even the thing people have backgrounds in. I don't think you can go major in goal setting. It has come from personal experience, from me personally setting and failing and setting and achieving goals over the past 29 years of my life. Okay, I haven't been setting goals my whole life, but you know what I mean. Setting goals for a number of years and failing, and then figuring out what works for me and just sharing my journey. And it started out just by me sharing that helped other people achieve their goals. And then it turned into, I created a community, and now I have been helping members of my community achieve their goals. And so it's just a lot of experience. That's basically it. But I appreciate that question. No, I am not planning to buy the EC surprise box. Please explain the bootcamp class and where do you take the class? So I'm going to leave the link. Amanda, maybe do you mind leaving the link? It's amandawarfield.com/Laken, and it is a content batching bootcamp class. And so she's got 4 sessions. Her name is Amanda, and she teaches it, and she will, it's her proprietary process of how to batch content for the entire month. So you spend a X amount of time, however much time you are willing to spend to create content for the entire month. And it's whatever kind of content you create. It is not just for YouTube creators. She has podcasters, bloggers. She's got a couple people that are just social media. I would not recommend the class unless you have some long form content that you work on regularly, whether that's YouTube, podcast, or blogging. But if you have one of those long form content pieces, I highly recommend her class. Highly recommend. I plan your week on Monday and write down what you want to do for each day, but sometimes it doesn't work out the way that I plan it. So should I plan as you go? So Michelle, that is why I plan as I go, because things change. And that is why the digital weekly and the paper daily works so well for me, so that things, when they have to move or change, I can change that. So if you want to see things weekly, I would recommend just doing it on sticky notes and then planning it day by day as you go. The other negative to that, though, is that if you don't have time to plan every day as you go, then sometimes you don't plan at all. And that might be more detrimental than having a plan that's different. So it's kind of figuring out that sweet spot for you, because I know some people they have more time on Sunday to plan their week than they do on a day-to-day basis. So I think, again, just figuring out what works for you. Try it for a week. And if it doesn't work, then go back and try something different. One of your goals this year is to read more books for fun. How have I worked reading into my routine? First off, you just answered the question right there. The answer to getting more reading in is to work the reading into your routine. And just like I say with everything, you start small and you work your way up. So I started by adding 5 minutes here and 5 minutes there. And then I've worked that up to 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 20 minutes. So I read my fiction, my fun books in the evening. And I read before bed every single night, at least for 20 minutes. What typically happens with me, though, is that because that's part of my routine and I always do that, I get really into fiction books, and then I will pick them up during other rest times. And that helps me get more reading in the evenings and on the weekends. But at a minimum, it's 20 minutes a night before bed. I do not know what anime Sam is watching. If you're interested in the anime, come to my DMs and Instagram afterwards, and I will ask him and send them that way. Oh, Lisa, it's not. It's not. I think that's one of those things that I think is going to get pushed off. Lent is a thing in America, but not everybody celebrates it. So I personally do not celebrate Lent and do not plan to give anything up. Tracy, just wondering if your 9 to 5 employer or colleagues know of your YouTube alter ego. How do you explain this to people? Yeah. So my employer does know about it because you have to report additional income that you get from another source. That's just like a requirement of working. I think that's maybe every corporation, but at least mine. I've had to tell them about my company since I started making an income. Some of my colleagues do, and some of them follow me on Instagram. They still don't really get it, but it's fine. I think that some of my newer colleagues that I've gained in the last year don't, because we haven't been in the office, and so small talk and like getting to know each other is not super common, but that's okay. But the company definitely knows. For your weekly schedule, Google Cal, do you set reminders or print out a physical copy? I don't do either of those things, Becca. My Google Cal is really a place for future appointments and allows me to time block and visualize my week that way. All I do is that every day when I go to plan in my daily planner, I pull up my Google Cal as the starting point for planning out my day. Well, you can feel free to read it. Yes, Amanda. Well, I can do it now. I'm all caught up. That's the link for Content Batching Bootcamp. If you want to sign up and join, you can sign up and just watch. Actually, I think it's on a wait list right now. And it's live. The classes are live for this session, and they are going to be in the evening times. So if you do work a 9 to 5, which I feel like a lot of her community does, then you can take the class in the evening. And again, changed my life. Like, and I don't say that lightly, but it did. It absolutely changed my life. And I'm glad somebody brought it up, because until next Tuesday, it's a slight discount. By getting on the wait list, it's going to be slightly discounted. And if you sign up after that, it's going to be more expensive. Christopher, how is your class going? I'm hoping to join later this year. I appreciate that so much. It's going very well. I think it's going well. I mean, I can't wait to hear feedback from those that are actually participating in it. But I know that there are a number of people who've had some light bulbs. I've gotten some super, super kind emails and messages saying that it has absolutely, like, they had a light bulb moment and here was their aha and here's how it's changing their goal journey. And that means everything. And so far so good. We only have a couple sessions left, which it's flying by, like absolutely flying by, but so far so good. You wanted to start using Google Cal for time blocking. Have I talked about how I do this, or can you share how you do it? So I think, Amanda, there is a old video. There's 2 videos that I can think of. One is a video called like How I Plan My Life. And that is not necessarily, all of that is not applicable anymore, because in that video, I'm still using a weekly forward planning planner. But I talk about the Google Cal in that video. There's another monthly planning video, like where I plan my month and I show my Google Cal and how I plan with it. I think really, if I'm going to give you like the 60-second how to do it, is you just put everything in. I know that sounds so simple, but start with what has to go in there. What's a non-negotiable? And I color code based on different categories. So I don't get super specific with my color coding, but my colors are, my 9 to 5 job has its own color, because it's gray, because it like has to take up space, but I don't want it to like be in my face because I know it's there. So my 9 to 5 job is one color. Adulting is what I call another color. I know that's very millennial of me to use the phrase adulting, but that's things like grocery shopping and house cleaning and all those kinds of things. Self-care is another color, and that is my AM routine, my PM routine, my workouts, blah, 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 blah. And then Plan with Laken is another color. And then I have this like really bright like blue that stands out, and that's for goals and social events. So those are like the things that can move, basically. Those are the kind of things that like they can all move around, right? I can move what day I clean the house, but that's kind of how I do that. Yeah, I could put that in a video. I need to think about that a little bit more. I hope that's helpful. What has been the most helpful resource or class you've taken in regards to social media and branding? That's a great question. I mean, the Content Batching Bootcamp, not to like hammer that home, but that changed my life in terms of doing it with my time that I have. But in terms of actually like branding myself and like social media, honestly, there hasn't really been a course that I've taken that's really kind of like opened my eyes to that. It's more about just been a lot of trial and error. Like I try things and then it works, and I try things and it doesn't work. No promises. I will film some things in the vlog as I do them. Again, I think I mentioned this, but my struggle with filming some things like that is that I will rush through the process if I know that I'm filming it. That's just a personal thing that I've got to work on. And I don't want to rush through decluttering, or I will not make good decisions. Do you keep any work tasks in your daily planner or totally separate? My work planner is totally separate. What I do in my daily planner is I just chunk it out. So I took all the dots. I put like all the things that are going to happen in the morning before work. I put the one thing I'm going to do during lunch, and then all the things that are after work. And I leave like a line that marks like when I'm at work. Some days it's not very much because if you work a 9-to-5 job, that takes up a lot of your time. But I'm also known for like breaking things down into little tiny pieces. So sometimes it looks like I have a lot of things, but sometimes one of those things is like a 1-minute task. Oh, this is so sweet. Thank you. Yeah, I know. And it's tough because I know that people like to see moving and they like to see packing, and that's super helpful, but it's yeah, I don't know. It's finding the balance of what's beneficial for you with what's beneficial for me at the end of the day. And I know that this is a really important task that I am embarking on, to make sure that I'm packing thoughtfully, which is my quarterly goal, and that I'm, decluttering thoughtfully and thinking about our new space. So the vlog that comes up on Friday, I talk about packing. I go on for like 5 or 10 minutes in 2 different sections about moving and packing. So it might be a little bit more about me like talking about what I did or what I'm going to do, not as much of like me actually doing it. And hopefully that you still find that helpful. Oh, Ashley, thank you. Ashley's always also my like superstar story that my Instagram has nothing to do with growing a community because she doesn't have Instagram. So she completely found me via YouTube, and that's it, which I love. That's the other problem. Setting up cameras and stuff is like, it's a lot. It's a lot of things to get that set up to film every time. And my goal, again, is to take my time with it. I mean, at this point, we're at 30 days out, but my goal is still to take my time and to do a little bit at a time and not spend that entire last weekend just packing. I know most of that last weekend is going to be packing, but I don't want it to be everything. And I want to take my time with it. Even if that means we're living in a tornado for the next 30 days, which we are, and we will be. But it's worth, that sacrifice is worth it for us, or for me anyway. I mean, I talked to Sam about it, but it's worth it to make sure that we're packing thoughtfully so that we don't show up at the new place with things that we didn't need to bring with us. I think I mentioned this in a vlog somewhere, but the last 2 times I packed up my life like this, my mom helped me. So trying to do it right now, and I don't want to say by myself because obviously Sam is helping, but like without my mom is it's a whole nother monster to tackle. I know. What did I ask her last time I talked to her on the phone? I was like, Mom, how do I pack this? And she was like, what? And I was like, I don't know how to pack it. I don't remember what it was. Oh yeah, for sure. That's a great tip. We're actually, whoever gave us the tip about going to the apartment earlier in the week and setting up some things, like that's on my list too. We have to go to the apartment earlier in the week to get the keys from the super anyway. So we're going to go earlier. We're going to take like cleaning supplies and toilet paper and that kind of stuff. So that's a great question, Andy. Do my parents use a planner which may have influenced you? My mom, definitely not. My mom is not a planner. If you watched the live, when I was home, I did a live with my mom. She's not a planner unless it's a vacation, and in which case she plans on a spreadsheet. My dad is also not really a planner. He likes to write things down. Like he likes notebooks and things like that, but he's never really had a planner. At least not that I know of. Maybe it's keeping, but I feel like at this point he would have showed it to me. My stepmom, however, is definitely a planner, and she's been my stepmom since I was 8. So it is very possible that she had an influence on me and my planner love. Yeah, no, packing's not ideal. Not the most fun thing in the world. Oh my gosh. I can't even imagine having somebody else pack. Oof. I'm nervous about having somebody else move. We are hiring movers. Um, Definitely not. Like there's just both from they'll be able to do it faster and probably safer. Like the amount of people, like friends we'd have to help us carry furniture, we just can't do that ourselves. Yes, I do have a moving spreadsheet. I shared it in last week's weekly vlog. If you want to go check it out, it's a spreadsheet. I've got a couple different tabs, the actual plan, what we need to buy for the new place, um, and the boxes, like what we're packing. Well, they're not. I mean, let me take that back. They are, but they're not. So 2 weeks ago, I don't even remember what we did now, but I know we did it. Oh. When we celebrated our signing our lease, we went out to dinner we went to like one of our favorite places in the Upper East Side, which is where we live now, to celebrate signing our lease. We were the only people, like they have outside seating and all the tables are far apart, and it was cold, but we were fine. They had heaters. We were the only people there too, because we went late because it was the first night of the Q&A. So we Q&A'd from 7 to 7:30 and then we went to dinner. Anyway, so that was the one we did that first week. So we went to dinner and we spent the whole like dinner talking about the new apartment and what we want in the rooms and all the things. And then this week it was Valentine's Day, so it was really easy to have one. And we ordered dinner in and we watched the prom, and that was really fun. This week we're gonna have to make it intentional because we don't have anything planned yet. So my to buy for the new place is pretty long too. I have it split into 3 tiers, which I talked about in that vlog. Tier 1 is like the things that we have to get to like make the place functional, which really is mostly just our desks, and getting those situated, and then some bathroom stuff, like we're not taking the shower curtain and that kind of stuff. And then there's tier 2, which is like the things I want to order kind of that weekend that we're there. Like once I'm there, see the furniture we have in the space and I'm able to measure around that, I want to like click order that weekend for those things. And then the third tier is like way past that. Do you suggest reading earlier in your AM routine? I keep getting cozy and falling back to sleep because it's the last thing I do. I do it last because then if the earlier things take me less time, I have more time to read before it's time to be done with my morning routine, or vice versa. If the things earlier take longer, then I cut reading shorter because it's like not the least important, but the timing, whether I do it for 5 minutes or 30 minutes, it's still valuable. That's why I keep reading last. I also am not usually done with my coffee. So when I'm sitting there with my book, I also usually have my coffee in my hand. And so I can't like fall asleep with my coffee in my hand. I don't usually have that issue. Oh, Cleo, this is a great question. What countries are on top of your list to visit when this situation is finally over? Um, I mean, I have a huge list of places I'd like to visit. The like preliminary ones that we will end up at are Thailand for our honeymoon and then Ireland for a wedding. Our friends just like to get married internationally, man. But one of my bridesmaids who lives here in New York, her and her fiance are getting married in Ireland next year. So we also have that. So those are probably the 2 countries we will go to first. Oh, but I really want to go to Greece. I also really want to do wine tours of Europe. I've only been to England. That's the only part of Europe. And I mean, Ireland's going to be beautiful, but they're not known for their wine. But I want to go to like France and Italy and Spain and do wine tours within Europe. Um, yeah, those are the big ones on my list. Yeah, we have a lot of stuff too, Catherine. That's why we need to declutter, which is it's a weird mindset to have that I like we're going to a bigger space, but I want to take less stuff. But I'm trying like really hard to stay focused on that I want it to feel less cluttered once we get there. And even though it is bigger, I mean, it is bigger. I don't know what the square footage is of the new place, but there's obviously more space. There's the closet space in the new apartment is amazing. Amazing. Like I didn't know those kinds of closets existed in New York. Oh, a Greek island cruise. Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. Yeah, like a Mediterranean cruise would be on my list for sure. Yeah, we're excited about Ireland. We're probably going to extend it because if you're flying internationally, like you might as well make a trip out of it. So we'll probably extend a couple of days to do the rest of Ireland, besides just the wedding, and then we're thinking maybe Iceland will be also maybe part of that trip since it's right there, kind of like how we did Dubai on our way to India. That's kind of what we're thinking. Oh my gosh, Annie, thank you so much for watching those old videos. 2018 Vlogmas. I just can't even imagine the quality of 2018 Vlogmas, Laken. That was a long time ago. That was a long time ago. Oh my God, you got to hold a sheep? That's amazing. I mean, yeah, I'm really excited for Ireland. Don't get me wrong. Just because they're not known for their wine. I'm also a whiskey girl, so I am very pumped for all of that. And just, I mean, beautiful scenery and just super excited about all of it. And I'm excited for their wedding. Their wedding is going to be a blast too. So all these international weddings, just crazy. I don't know when we're going to go to a wedding again. Well, that's not true. We have 3 weddings in the fall that I hope for the sake of those couples that they do get to happen. So just crazy. Iceland Air used to have a deal where if you flew with them, you could have a layover in Iceland for 5 or 7 days without any additional cost. Well, Ashley, we're going to have to look into that because that's what we're thinking. Oh, Michelle, I have no idea. Like they haven't even finalized a date yet. They've narrowed it down to 2 venues, and so they haven't even finalized the date. So we haven't even started planning anything about it yet. To be determined. I don't know. It's more about just they told us that they're getting married in Ireland next year. So, and there's only so much vacation time and vacation budget to go around. So between our wedding, that wedding, and our honeymoon, like that's pretty much our 2022 travel year. It is possible, I guess, we go out of the country at some point later this year. I don't know, maybe. Oh, that is awesome, Danielle. So that's part of it. She studied abroad. Her family's from Ireland, and she studied abroad in Dublin for a whole year, which is why it's very special to her. Okay, so we're not crazy that's kind of what we're thinking about putting those 2 countries together. It just seemed to make sense. Like Iceland doesn't seem to need to be its own trip. It kind of seems perfect, like to connect that with Ireland. Thanks for making me feel better about our decisions here. All right, y'all. Any other questions that you have? I feel like I'm all caught up. I'm with you, Amanda. I would just take any kind of trip or vacation at this point. Yeah, it's super tough. Ooh, great question. Have you had your vaccine? What's the rollout process in New York? So the good news is I technically am eligible now in the state of New York. As of Monday, New York State has allowed people with comorbidity, I'm trying to think of the word, comorbidities, I guess I can just pluralize that, are eligible for the vaccine. And on their list of comorbidities is obesity as defined by a BMI of 30 or higher. So technically, I am eligible for the vaccine here in New York. However, finding an appointment has proved very difficult, and I have spent a lot of time over the last few days trying to find an appointment for myself, and it has been unsuccessful. So nope, I have not gotten my vaccine yet. I'm trying, but not yet. How do you balance monthly cycles and GR planning? I've been struggling the weeks when my levels drop. Chani, that's a great question, and it's on my list of things to be better at. All I do right now, so if you remember on Instagram, if you follow me on Instagram, I have these magnetic monthly calendars that I bought that I have hung up on the wall. All I have right now is I have a little magnet on the day that it is likely going to start, just to kind of help me visualize my month and to see that start date. That is all I do right now in terms of it. I have not changed my life around it, but I am with you. And I know that week leading up, I am useless. And I had to have this conversation with my nutrition coach because I don't want to work out. I'm tired. I just don't have any energy. And I need to plan better around that. So I don't now. That's all I kind of do, but I want to. Holy moly, you booked last night and had it this morning. That's amazing. Yeah, no, I have not been able to find an appointment whatsoever, which is really such a bummer. The only place that seems to have them is like Walgreens, but on the Walgreens website, it tells me I'm not eligible when I put my information in. And I'm like, no, if I go to the New York State website, it says that I am eligible, but Walgreens is like appointments available. And then I try to make it and it's like, you're not eligible. I'm like, well, that is not helpful. So I don't know. Your cousin is a nurse in New York City, and there are times there are vaccines left over at the end of the day. I have heard this in other places too, that if you go to a place at the end of the day, you can usually get in. I wonder, I don't know where to do that or how to do that. And is it only the places with the Pfizer vaccine because that one is the temperature controlled one? Like, I would love more information on that and how to actually do that, where to go, what time. I'll get there. I'll wait for hours. Like, I would love more information on that. Okay, that's a good, I haven't read any books about it. So woman code added to my list. Period power also added to my list. Okay, she's at Bellevue. Yeah, again, I've tried a lot the last 3 days, ever since I was officially eligible on Monday, and have had no success. So. Oh, well. And I mean, it's not the end of the world because nothing about my life will change until Sam also gets his vaccine. Even then, I don't know how much about our lives would change because of, I'm going to wait for everyone else to also be safe and have their vaccines. But it would be nice to just get it done and get it over with. So yeah. Yeah, I have that. Yeah, cycle. Yep. I haven't. I have that planner. It's undated and I do want to use it at some point, but I haven't used it. It's beautiful and I want to try it. All right. Any last minute questions, friends? All over the place tonight. Goals, Google Cal, vaccines, all kinds of things. All right. Well, I waited for any last minute questions. I'm going to go ahead and ask you my final question, which is, what is one thing that you are doing this week to make progress on your goals? One small thing, doesn't have to be huge, doesn't have to be what feels like life-changing, because even the small steps add up over time. So what is one small thing that you can do this week to help make progress on your goals? And I know that for some of you in different parts of the country, that might be super tough. And it might be as small as spending 5 minutes reading a book and just hanging out. Writing 1,000 words a day before you do anything else. Prioritizing those goals. Amanda, I love it. Meal prep. I love that. Unzipping all of your files and then start organizing. Whew, that sounds like a lot. Continue trying to be out of bed by 6 a.m. That's awesome. Yeah, waking up earlier. Actually do a spa mask and relax for 15 minutes. Ashley, I know that you need that so badly. Oh, that sounds amazing, Lisa. I hope you enjoy that. Spending quality time with your husband, increase your water intake, keeping your kitchen clean. Oh, I feel you on that. Using your Flex-It Touch. I don't know what that is, but that sounds like fun. Setting up your bedroom and decluttering, doing yoga at least once, and doing one little word for January and February. Yeah, one little word's on my list too, Rachel, but we'll see. We'll see if it happens this weekend. Or at least January. Like at least if I can get through January by the end of this month, I'll feel good. Laying out your clothes for tomorrow. Oh, you're headed back to the office. Whew, that's why you needed a mimosa tonight, Grace. All right, y'all. I'm just here to remind you that it takes one small step at a time, and that is how you accomplish your goals. And I know that you can do it. And I know that it's hard with everything going on and a lot up in the air, but I have faith in you, and just keep chugging and having faith that when you work on the goals one step at a time, the progress will come and you will accomplish them eventually. And I know that probably doesn't sound super motivating to say eventually, but that's how it works, is that we work on them and then things happen, and then we get excited and motivated by that progress, and then we keep going, and we might even work a little bit harder. So if you wouldn't mind giving this video a thumbs up before you head out, I would greatly appreciate it. And if you're new, please click that subscribe button. I upload new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, focusing on helping you achieve your goals. Thank you so much for everybody who hung out with me virtually, as I just saw the word virtual in Alexandra's comment. Again, it is virtually, hanging out with me live tonight. Love it. Thank you so much for watching the replay. If you watch the replay, I will see y'all next week. Happy planning.